Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Other Minds and Hands. My name is Corey Olsen, joined as always by Maggie Parke, and Maggie is joining me today from the studio here in New Hampshire.
And Corey was just with me, but it's a
Yes,
lot easier to do what he does from his house than here, believe it
yes,
or not.
I just arrived back home for simplicity of broadcasting. Setting up the multi-streaming thing from the studio is complicated.
Yeah.
But the big news is what I have over here, which is as of just a couple hours ago, our new Rings and Realms project is fully funded.
You
Really,
guys,
really delighted. You guys are
like we
awesome.
would have done it without, but oh God, this is so much better. The
It's
relief is just,
Yeah, it is very exciting. So we wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about the production. Maggie's here for it, so she's flown over here to New Hampshire, and we're going to be this week as principal photography. We're going to be in the studio all week this week.
so we should say this is going to be a brief Other Minds and Hands,
Yeah, yeah,
just because it's a full-on week. But we wanted to just kind of touch base with everybody and say thank you. Like it's this community, our wider community, and now the Torn community that is also supporting this project that we're just pumped about. Because there's something about Kickstarter and what we do with crowdfunding, with Signum and everything else that just builds this community. And we've been super lucky with Other Minds and Hands in the chat, as well as the Discord from previous projects and stuff, to just have this community that it feels like not just us begging for money. It's like, no, let's all band together and make this awesome thing happen. And now we can make more awesome things happen. So,
absolutely. Yeah, and
yeah, it's
and
great.
this project is particularly exciting because it's also, a bridge to a potential exciting future too. I mean, this is something that we're excited, the exciting future certainly of working with our friends at theonering.net. This is our first collaborative project in that way. That has been really delightful. So looking forward to further connecting with that community as we work on this project together. So David asks, how long will funding remain open for people who still want to contribute? We're going to leave that open for a while. And one of the important reasons why we're doing that is, as we've said before, so what we're producing here, this is not like an ongoing sorry, it sounds unflattering, and I don't mean it to be unflattering when I call our Rings and Realms, Rings of Power discussions an ongoing ramble, but it's I don't mean it to be I don't mean that slightingly. Like, it's like a genre that we've developed, in our
The ramble,
yes, exactly, the ramble genre.
the exploration.
It's an exploration. It's an exploration, yeah. This one, as we've said before, this is going to be a much more focused and concentrated, fully scripted, much more highly produced documentary. We're shooting for no longer than 90 minutes total for this.
With
And
some other pieces, though, I don't want you to think that's the only thing you're getting. Like,
no,
of
there's
course,
gonna there's yeah,
we're
there's
gonna
other
film
stuff too.
we're gonna film some informal chat of us as well. And Corey's got a prop analysis that he's working on, so there's stuff
And we'll have
happening.
other interviews and things that we're doing with some of the folks from the production crew of War of the Rohirrim and stuff. So yeah, there's going to be a bunch of, but like the central project is not going to be, again, like a sort of a series of long episodes like Rings and Realms was for the Rings of Power. This is going to be, we are attempting a different genre here. The more fully produced documentary style discussion. So that's a fun project all in itself, and that's really where, Maggie, what you and Ben are focused on right now is doing the working out of scripts and shot lists and things like that to plan it
Yeah.
out.
So Phil just asked too. So what you're saying, like, let us tell you what we're thinking. So yes, Phil's asking. It's going to be like the DVD extras on PJ Films. Yep.
Exactly like
So
that. Yes.
like we want to make this anyway. It's just a really good exercise for us to do this super produced documentary style deep dive. And it is like a Peter Jackson documentary that you would find on the special features of the extended editions, but adding that extra layer of analysis and academic research that they obviously do. Like, we know the care and the deep dives that they do themselves, but that's not always in their fan facing content. But it should be, because we're all obsessed and we want that. So that's kind of the vibe that we're going for, and it's a good exercise for us to try to mimic somebody's style. So as a studio, we could be prepared for a commission from Warner Brothers to give them something like that, you know? So that's kind of the idea of what we're after. So filming this documentary, it's me, Corey, and Kirsten Cairns from theonering.net. And Ben and I right now are going through scripts. And so we've been working on the scripts since the film came out. Bullet points, thematics, how we're going to work together, because it's not just like Rings of Power where it's Corey for 20 minutes, me for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be us talking around each other, talking about a topic. And then from that, Ben's creating a shot list, and that's the production document that's available as an add-on on the Kickstarter. So you'd be able to get a copy of that. And that basically has our script, the shot list. We'll probably include some pictures in the PDF that we sell and things like that. So not sell, that we give to our backers.
Yeah.
So that will be in there as well. And then Wednesday we'll start pre-production, really, and Thursday and Friday are principal photography. So it'll be shot by the end of this week, but then we'll probably have a number of interviews and additional content that we might weave into it, so the actual edits won't happen for a while, which is why we're going to stretch the fund out a little bit longer too. The only thing that is time sensitive on the Kickstarter, though, is the trivia contest. So right. Corey is hosting a trivia contest, and if you would like to be part of that, then you need to pledge by tomorrow.
It's going to be fun. We'll hang out together and do some fun Tolkien trivia stuff. Now, Archer on Twitch was saying, we mentioned the documentary will only be available to Kickstarter backers at first. Is that at a specific tier or any size donation?
Size donation, any support. If you go from the Discord backer on up, which I think is 150 on up, then you get a lot more. We'll give additional clips and backstage content and filming things, and a link to a fly on the wall Zoom for Thursday or Friday, so you can just watch us in the studio. And then there's other Zooms where you actually get to ask us questions and we can have a chat. But if you donate even $10, then you will eventually get the link to watch this documentary.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So it is an important thing to remember, because I know before people were used to us releasing Rings and Realms on YouTube, and again, that was the different thing that we were doing. This is a specific and focused video that we're going to be sharing around with some other folks first before we post it. So it won't be posted right away. So people who want early access to that, our backers will get early access to that.
And Phil, I will make it more prominent. Thank you. He says he couldn't find that anywhere. I'll make it more prominent. Thanks.
Right. Yes, we will. We will. We will make that clearer. Anyway, yeah. So it's fun. The thing that was really challenging for me was doing the kind of deep dive analysis that we've done, but also trying to be focused. To do. How to do the sort of thing that we do, that we have been doing, not to lose any of the depth and the fun of that, while still remaining within the constraints. But constraints are fun. I mean, constraints are invigorating in a lot of ways. And I know I was when I was writing my scripts, I was I was very cognizant of word count, trying to make sure to keep it within, what would be a reasonable time.
It's a good goal. And our Norian asked, will it be less conversational? The documentary is less conversational. It's still us. It's not like we're going to be like, from the dawn of time,
right?
There was a book called The Lord of the Rings. So
it's not just it's not going to be like a like Denzel Washington voiceover or something, know.
Yeah. It's going to be like how we would talk to each other. It's just kind of pre-thought out.
Right.
But we are going to film a roundtable discussion that is much more our, what you would call normal style or this. So like we're picturing like the Star Wars gallery, extra features on Disney Plus, like that kind of vibe where we just sit around and actually talk about the things that we liked and the things that we struggled with and the things that were a little bit challenging and, what we would have done differently. But we're hoping for the documentary that it's really this like analysis focused deep dive into what we're looking at in the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we don't get Jason in my background.
Exactly.
Like looking into his office.
Right. He didn't sign up to be on camera during that.
Anyway.
All right. Awesome. So
the modulation of a style, but not a dramatic shift. Yes, that's a really good way to phrase it, and it's also to diversify us as a studio, because we do want to be seen as an independent production studio. So if we just did what we did for Rings of Power, that's really one note. It's obviously what we can do in our sleep. It doesn't take a lot of preparation, but we do better when we get a little bit more preparation.
Yes.
But this is different, so we want to be able to show that we have a portfolio that we can accomplish different things. So add to a nice studio reel and options and hopefully opportunities going forward for commissions from these guys that actually make the stuff.
Exactly. It's a really fun challenge. I mean, what our big picture goal is, we want to be a part of making more of this kind of content that fans really want, that fans will really dig into, about Tolkien adaptations and many other things. And the best way to do that is to work with the production companies on this. And the best way to do that is to show some variety in what we can accomplish and the kinds of things that we can do. So yeah, this is gonna be a really fun week. So okay, we're sorry we don't have a full broadcast today because it's day one of our 5 days of intensive production here. So it's like Maggie's still at the studio working there, and we'll get back to things. So we did want to give everybody an update, and of course share the exciting news about our Kickstarter funding, and thank everybody who's been a part of that, and talk a little bit more about what folks are going to get with that and what's going to happen. We're also, by the way, in the course of doing this, in the course of producing this documentary and its supplemental materials, we've also been establishing a lot of relationships with a bunch of really fun people that we're looking forward to having on Other Minds and Hands.
Like 18-year-old Maggie, who lined up at midnight to go see Fellowship, is losing her mind.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's pretty fun. So we're definitely
hoping to open those conversations, right? Like, we very much as a studio would love to become known for providing content that is industry focused and fan satisfaction, right? So like bridging that gap between academic expertise and popular consumption. Starting with conversations with the creators is like a dream. I mean, when I was like starting my PhD formation, this is what I was hoping for, because we make all these assumptions about what they're trying to do and how dare they do that? Why did they change this? Like all that stuff that's very emotive that we talk about in Other Minds and Hands. But when we're able, like when Corey and I are able to do our analysis and then talk to the person that actually did it and be like, right or wrong? Like, is that what you were aiming for? Can you walk us through your thought process? Because you saw it with Daniel Falconer. Like when we start talking to these guys, they've done the work. They have done the research. They know so much. And if we can help give them a platform where they get to talk about that and we get to eat it up, yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I find it so constructive to, like the conversation we had with Daniel last time, when you get past the kind of assumptions that it can be difficult not to make, right? When a decision is made in a film that you don't like, right? Or like that just does not jive with your own preferences, your own thoughts, your own interpretation, your own favorite things in an adaptation. It's always so easy to jump to those emotive responses and to be like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. When instead, when you can actually have a conversation with, and think about it from the other side. Think about it from the side of like, okay, here are the decisions that we had to make. This is the choice that we ended up going with, and this is pretty much why. But anyway, yeah, that's it's very wholesome. It's very it's very nice to do that. And so anyway, so yes, we're very excited. We are foreseeing over the course of the next few months having a series of conversations with a bunch of people. We still, by the way, are still hoping to connect with some of the Rings of Power stuff. Some of the Rings of Power folks, I should say, with whom we were having conversations and who were hoping to get in and chat with us and weren't able to make it happen back when we were filming Rings and Realms. Still hoping to do some of that. And then also having conversations with a bunch of the folks involved with the War of the Rohirrim and other things going on there, perhaps more, returning to some of these conversations. I'd love to have that follow-up discussion with Leith about, doing an analysis of a dialogue analysis of a scene.
Yeah.
I would love to sit down with Daniel, as we were talking about doing last time, and go through a famous scene in the Lord of the Rings films and analyze it with him and hear his stuff on it. Anyway, so there's
And Bear, I mean, we didn't talk to Bear about season 2.
Yes.
And in the same thread, we're probably going to have an interview with Stephen Gallagher, who did the music for War of the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
And we've just posted a almost 1 hour interview that Kirsten Cairns did from Torn. We've just posted that on our Rings and Realms page, so that's up there as well.
Yeah. No, he's definitely someone we'd be interested. We're hoping to get a chance to talk to soon as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we're hoping to do. And so we think that over the course of the next few months, probably a lot of the other Minds and Hands that we'll be doing will be these kinds of interviews and discussions.
And it might be, just to warn everybody, it might be that we get a little bit more sporadic, because it might be for the next few months while we're kind of working on this stuff and a few other projects, that it might be when we have someone to talk to, we'll do another Minds and Hands. We might still do a pickup episode of our own, but I think for a little bit, we're going to focus on some projects and just meet up with you guys. So just watch socials and all that. But yeah, I forget, what is February 3rd is our next one?
Yeah, because I'm going to be away the next 2 weeks. I'm traveling with my family, and then I'll be in Australia for Osmoot, which is awesome, but also far. So actually, technically, I won't be in Australia. I will be in my 40-hour travel day back. That day when I fly out, my flight leaves at 6 a.m. and then I get home at like 6 p.m. and I will have been traveling for like 30 hours.
Are you on the ground shorter than you're in the air?
Oh yeah.
Those are the killers. Like,
oh yeah,
okay,
totally. Anyway, so that'll be 2 weeks from today. So I definitely won't be broadcasting on that day. But the week after that, February 3rd is when we will plan to be back, and we will see what we can get lined up for February 3rd. So
I think we'll have somebody for February 3rd.
Yeah.
Awesome. So sorry it was short, guys, but we wanted to make sure we checked in and gave you this update.
Yeah, we did want to connect with people to sort of share what's going on. It's going to be a really fun week. We'll be actually shooting probably Thursday, Friday, right? Yeah. Doing a lot of
maybe Wednesday, but definitely Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, doing a lot of setting up of shots on Wednesday and everything. So, all right.
I'm just chatting production with you now. I'm like, I think we do the round table on Wednesday.
Okay.
Warm us up for everything Thursday and Friday.
Oh yeah, and somebody was asking a question about that. Sean was asking a question about that. The round table is just going to be us, right? It's just going to be us in house. Yeah. Further discussions that we're going to be having with other folks from the War of the Rohirrim production are all going to be sort of separate interviews, because they're not going to be here physically. So we will have our crew here. You're here. Kirsten will be here. Ben and I, of course, are always here. So.
And it might be that's when we do the fly on the wall link as well. So you guys could actually hear that round table ahead of us recording it, editing it, and releasing it. So
yeah.
Backers.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that's that's what's going to be happening for that. But yeah, I mean, it is our hope that this is the beginning of exciting things to come, so it's a very exciting season, not just because of the activity and the fun of producing something like this, which is great fun, but the whole season, building relationships and really trying to pioneer a way into this, because it is a pioneering thing. This is not just like it's been one of the things that's been sort of an interesting challenge of this whole thing, working to talk with studios and try to build relationships, because we're not just competing with other production studios to try to get the attention. We're really trying to work with studios and get them to do a new thing that they don't normally do.
It's a funny hill to have to climb. Like, it just seems to make sense to so many people once you start talking to them, but it's not something the industry's necessarily clocked into.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, I think, before with Rings of Power, that DVD special features are not something that were trackable.
Mm-hmm.
DVD sales were, but features were not. So it's
Right.
one of those things that in the world of digital media and interactive online interactions that have just kind of fallen off the radar because it's not trackable. We can't have data on that, so therefore it's not important,
Right.
So that's the bit we're kind of like, but it is, and we want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of, I have seen, a lot of resistance, even, kind of prejudice against academic content, the sort of, the assumption that audiences, like in general, that's not what audiences want, right? Audiences don't want long form deep dive. They don't want to be lectured to. They don't want academic content. We don't need a university. We don't need professors talking about this stuff. That's not what the people want, right? They want short, flashy, and sexy, right? That's
Yeah.
Give us 30-second bits. Give us 60-second deep dives. That's what the people want. And what Maggie and I are working to do through the stuff that we produce and through the conversations that we're having is trying to essentially talk the industry into realizing, no, actually, when we're talking about fans, like when we're talking about Tolkien fans, when we're talking about Star Wars fans, whatever, like when you're talking about fandoms, they want as much as you can give them. Like they want the meat, right? They don't just want.
Yeah. You guys know this, like the much that we can devour is what we do, and it's used as currency in most fan communities. Like, have you seen that? Well, I've seen it 30 times, So
Right.
we're able to provide content that is additional and long form and has excellent details and insights. Like, that's
And really enriches people's experience of the original, to then go back to rewatch the original with new thoughts and new questions. So,
and I promise you always have us, but we also dream about being able to highlight all the other academics that are able to do this too. Like the people
absolutely.
that you get passionate about for any other adaptation or any other kind of storytelling. Like, I hope we get to produce it, but we hope to highlight lots of other people that are really good at talking about this stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Arnorian was just saying it's weird that these folks don't know their audiences and fan bases better, but that's kind of what your PhD thesis was about, wasn't it, Maggie?
Pretty much. I mean, my whole thesis was about fan engagement in event film adaptation, and I started that in 2007 and finished that in 2011. And we haven't come a long way since that research. But it was all about how to manage fan bases and how that make you more money. So I was trying to get the angle of this will make you more money.
It will.
And it was so clear. I mean, the research was so clear.
It's just, I mean, it seems, I mean, in my, not very, my far less educated perspective, it's just, but from what I see, I mean, I'm thinking about our experience with Prime Video and the Rings of Power, as well as things that we see elsewhere, and it just sort of seems like the studios tend to apply the wisdom that is gained from the analytics of standard marketing, right? Like, what do general audiences want? What plays with general audiences, and the message is okay, that might all be true. I'm not saying all of that information, all that data that you have is irrelevant. What I'm saying is fans are a different creature, right? Like it really is. There's this whole other angle that you're losing out on.
And the word, I mean, this is a whole other show now, but like the word fan also has like a really bad connotation in the industry. Like they think of it as something to be dealt with,
Right.
as opposed to managed and utilized. So there's this like disconnect. Yes, they can be fanatic, and yes, they can be hard to control. They are organized, and they will turn on you, and all these things that
Yes.
you do have to be careful about.
Sure.
But in the exact same breath, these are the most passionate people that if you work with them, keep them on side, they're the ones that are going to eat it up and have the most wonderful time. My hope is that the people that are now starting to be in these positions of power at these studios grew up being the fanatics
Right.
of Tolkien and Harry Potter and
Right.
Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting a little bit more engagement with fandoms. I just don't think it's been finessed super well.
Right. Right.
If
Yeah.
you want my 2 cents.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So anyway, that's big picture, what we're up to. I'm going to let Maggie get back to work there, working on scripts
Thanks,
there at the
Corey.
studio. And I had stuff here. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for all of your support. It's been such an exciting time to see the Kickstarter take off. Over this last week was an exciting week with the Kickstarter, and looking forward to moving forward. It's going to be a big week at the studio.
I'm like, you can refresh your page because it's gone up even since.
That's right.
Aw,
That's right.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. And Corey, I'll see you tomorrow.
Very good. See you tomorrow. Bye,
See you guys.
everybody.
February 3rd. Bye.